This is what our show is about tonight. 3-17 to 5 points for Beaufort. They win the All-Ireland Junior Club Final, and they did so in style here in Croke Park, because they went in at half-time 3-8 to 1 point. But the music is being played, and I'm sure it's going to be a Kerry song, even if there's a Kerry song, because they're proud. The players out there are hugging each other at the moment. The mentors are delighted because their date with destiny has turned out the right way. They're All-Ireland Junior champs, and Tralee can even take part of it, because the Rose of Tralee is being belted out here, Colm.
My watch, he said 5 minutes, we've played to 40, 118 to 214, Kerry lead by a point, and it's all over!
What a result!
And Kerry have beaten Dublin by 1 point in round 3 of the Allianz National Football League in an absolutely cracking match.
Oh, it's all over! It's all over here in Croke Park. Intermediate champions are Kilcummin on the scoreline. Kilcummin 5-13, Mavena 2-9, and for the second time today.
Yeah. Great stuff there, and heartiest congratulations to of course Kilcummin, Beaufort. We were with them all the way here on Radio Kerry through their journey, and a great win in the National League game, the third round of the Allianz League, by Peter Keane, his management team and players. And what a great weekend it was for sport in Kerry. And if you want to make any contact with us, I'm sure you were at those games. I'm sure there's Beaufort people out there that want to wish their team and management well tonight, and congrats to them. And likewise Kilcummin, and of course our Kerry team as well. And if you were in Austin Stack Park, what a brilliant atmosphere was there the weekend, and with Liam O'Connor playing on the accordion, getting the crowd going, putting everyone in good spirits. And well, when you win the game, it makes it much better. So if you want to call us tonight, you can call us on 066 7123 666, text on 083 300 3300, also on WhatsApp, Terrace Talk on Facebook, or tweet at Terrace Talk RK, Terrace Talk at radiokerry.ie. And I'm delighted to have our regular contributors here tonight. I've Denny Long, John Kennedy and Liam Brosnan. You're all very welcome.
Evening, Tim.
Liam, are all things right in the world?
They are, Tim. Look at the weekend that we're after having down here in the GA field. I suppose everyone that's green and gold are happy with Beaufort's result in Kilcummin, and to top it off then to beat the Dubs. What more could we ask for?
And what a build-up it was to that game. We were on our way back from Dublin, Ambrose Donovan and myself. We were listening to it on radio, and we've since watched it on TV. But there seems to be, the signals were good and the signs were good for the night that Tralee were hosting it, and a lot of people said maybe Killarney would be a good venue. You get more people in there. But from what's come back out of it, the atmosphere unequalled for a national league.
Yeah, Tim, look, I suppose when the Dubs come to town, they always bring a bit of an atmosphere and a carnival with them. But you've got to give great credit to the Tralee people, number one, and then the county board. I think anyone that can see Austin Stack Park at the moment, like it was in fantastic condition, and with the new shed, as we said, the shed end now, and I think it added to a lot of atmosphere with the Dubs inside the weekend. So there's a lot, like I said, a lot of credit due to the county board, the Tralee people, and also I was up there during the week before the game, and Jura was out around the field and he trying to get it right. So there's a lot of work that be done behind the scenes that people don't see, and I think it paid dividends the weekend, because it did highlight. And if you go on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, they will see all the Dublin supporters. They had a fantastic weekend, and they have nothing but glowing comments about it. So, and that's what football is all about at the end of the day, Tim. Look, it's
and Joe Wallace has gone viral.
Joe Wallace and Leona are gone viral.
Leona, that dance in the tunnel.
Yeah, I think Strictly are looking for them. RT will probably be looking for him now shortly for next year's
I see
campaign.
Joe many years ago. He was in the sideline. I think it was against Aunaskal, but
he was doing a different dance.
He was trying to do a dance, but he slipped on that particular time. I'm sure he's going to laugh when he hears that tonight. John Kennedy, talk about our team, the team selection that I was looking at social media on the build-up to it after Friday night when the team was announced. I suppose one name that was in everybody's head was David Moran coming back. He played a few minutes above in Cavan the week before. He was going to start at full forward from that particular programme.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. I suppose it's...
What's that all about?
Maybe it's to give young O'Brien a chance without putting pressure on him, Maybe we don't know, like, is that a team that was given in on the Monday or the Tuesday to the press and whatever, But look, I suppose, Tim, it was a super performance. This was going to be the acid test so early in the season. We'd beaten Tyrone, we'd beaten Cavan, you know, people were saying Tyrone weren't great, you know, that they're a good bit off it, and we got a difficult enough game up in Breffni Park, but this was going to be it. And I think, you know, like Liam said there, it was in the stand there, Tim, around 5:10, and the atmosphere, there's great credit to the county board for what they did, and Liam O'Connor, it was special really, and the Dubs, like the supporters, the banter, and it was an experience that I haven't witnessed in a National League game before anyway, I'll tell you, because...
Would any other team have brought that to town?
Probably Mayo, Tim, I suppose, you know, but the Dubs, they're a special supporters really, like, you know, they're genuine, and, you know, they were singing Championes, and, you know, they bring something special. And Kerry and Dublin, I suppose, there's a lot of negativity about Gaelic football over the last year and a half, and, you know, swarm defence and everything. What is wrong with football when it's played that way? You know, two teams that went at it, hell for leather, you know, hard hits out there, some great scores, some mighty fielding, some terrific defending, and, you know, the endeavour, like, right to the last minute. And, you know, possibly Dublin probably deserved a draw for the way they came back, but look, wasn't it great to see Peter Crowley fisting the winner? You know, both teams, I think, went away happy. I don't think Jim Gavin would be too disappointed. You know, they're probably...
It's a good workout for the next game.
Super workout, and he learned a bit. You know, he's a good few lads to come back. You know, what stage are they in their preparation for the championship? But from Peter Keane's point of view, this was a fantastic boost to everybody concerned.
Your statement there, John, was two teams went at it. Are we going to get that during the championship, two teams going at it, or will teams become defensive?
I suppose, Tim, you look at it, you look at the likes of Kerry and Dublin, or Kerry and Mayo, you know, Monaghan to a lesser extent. We've had some great games between them over the last number of years because they've gone at it. There's pace all over the field, and I think that's the difference with this Kerry team at the moment. You know, our half-forward line are playing some superb football. Diarmuid O'Connor and Dara Moynihan, my God, like the engines that they have up and down the field, and the pressure they're putting on, and they're able to, you know, while they went a bit defensive early on, we'll have to say that, but they can transfer from defence to attack so quickly. They have the legs to go with it, and, you know, it is exciting, Tim, because we have a few lads that household names, David Clifford, James O'Donoghue, to come back, but these guys are putting up their hand and they say, I want the jersey. And Peter Keane, like, to be fair, we said here a few weeks ago, how many games would he give these fellas? Would he make changes? He's making the minimum. He's giving them confidence. He's keeping them in the same positions. That's brilliant for the confidence. And we're top of the table with Mayo with 6 points. You couldn't ask for a better start.
Denny Long, how are you, sir?
Very good, Tim.
After the weekend, I heard you're looking for Kerry citizenship. We're going to talk about that later on, the Cork and Clare. It's a result of not many people. Austin Stack Park for you, you know it, you play there many a time, and you've been involved with the Austin Stacks club as well, close link with it. The atmosphere, did you ever experience that atmosphere?
Well, you see, it's a nice, you know, where you have a packed house, you'll always, and the lights makes it very special. And, you know, Saturday night, Dublin coming to town, you know, won the last 4 All-Irelands, won 4 of the last 5 National Leagues. Kerry were probably on a bit of a downer in the sense that 2018 wasn't very good for them. They, you know, Kerry were disappointed that they didn't do as well in the Super 8s as they thought they would do. Kerry always expect to be at the top of the table. They dropped back a bit in 2018. In under new management, a lot of new players, a lot of new faces, a lot of energy about Kerry. I think John is right. I think both teams went at it fairly helter-skelter. I don't know if you'll get that in the month of June and July. Quite doubtful, if you will. That
what was interesting, Denny, the week before in Cavan and the week prior to that against Tyrone, that Kerry, to be fair, they were getting bodies back, but they didn't seem to be able to break at pace because we were at the Cavan game and, you know, they were turning ball over in the defence, but when they'd look up there was nobody in front of them. But suddenly on Saturday night they had pace for players to go forward, the likes of Gavin O'Brien and Dara Moynihan.
Yeah, and I suppose that goes back to, you know, they've been together now for a couple of months and they've had obviously played a few games, and then, you know, when the National League started they had the game against Tyrone, which was a boost to them. It was a very, very poor game. Tyrone, you know, we have to say were very poor. Mayo beat them quite easily as well. Roscommon probably should have beat them. They got a pretty lucky draw up in Roscommon, but that's not taking from Kerry. Kerry, the energy Kerry are showing, the management obviously are very happy with the way the team are playing. You know, the hunger and the drive, and, you know, when you're picked on a Kerry team or any county team, motivation shouldn't be a problem for you. It's an honour to wear the jersey. And these Kerry fellas, particularly the Dara Moynans and the young O'Briens and all these fellas, they've been waiting for this chance for 3 and 4 years and maybe longer. And when they get that chance, they know if they make an impression that they could hold their place. And at the moment, the lucky thing for Kerry is, I suppose, with the Crokes fellas coming back and young McCarthy from Kilcummin, obviously there's going to be a lot of competition. And that's only good for the future.
Liam, Brosnan is we've said in years gone by that it's the older guys that have to be the leaders. You're looking at young guys now and they've no baggage. They've won All-Irelands in Croke Park. They see Peter Keane as a dream manager because they've won their 3 All-Irelands under him, different players. Is it fair to say these are the guys leading the charge, the young guys?
They are, Tim. Look, and we said it around this table a few times in the last 12 months that like you said, there's no baggage and there's no fear. When you're a young fella, you don't fear anyone. You don't care who you're marking. If I'm a young fella and I'm marking John Kennedy, even though John would have All-Ireland medals, you wouldn't. You'd be going out and you'd be saying, "Look, I'm going to show this fella," and that's what Kerry are doing. The last couple of weeks, all right, I was kind of baffled with a lot of the TV analysts and stuff like that about the Kerry defensive structure. To be honest, Tim, and we spoke off here, I don't think this is a defensive structure that Peter's going with. He's letting the boys play. Basically against Tyrone, everyone just attacked in Tyrone. So the likes of Paul Gainey and the likes of the forwards had to follow their men. Cavan was the same. The last day, if you watched Kerry closely against Dublin, it was man to man. Like if Jack Barry followed Fintan everywhere. Even when Fintan passed the ball, Jack was still with Fintan. Everyone was marking their own man. When Dublin were attacking, then your halfbacks were coming back to help your defenders. Your midfielders coming back, and it gave the opportunity then for the likes of Paul Murphy to leave his man to double team or even triple team. And the key to that, and Dublin have been doing it with years, is pace. When we turned over the ball, then we were able to break. The Brian Begleys, the Tom Sullivans, the Paul Murphys. How often do you see our full back from Kerry in the last 4 or 5 years come up and kick the first point of the game? How often do you see the cornerback fisting the last point to win the game? So Peter's letting them play football. And I think that's the main thing.
You were manager of a Sigerson Cup team, and I was over. I watched one of your games. I couldn't go to Belfast. You wouldn't take me on the bus. But I was watching, and I was looking at those players. They played with Kerry at underage level. Yeah. Fair enough, you'll have to be tactically astute yourself for things that can happen during the game. But did you leave that team express themselves? Because these guys are educated. They've come through the ranks of a coaching structure. Is it a case you let them off the leash?
You let them off the leash and you let them play. And you might have 1 or 2 structures. And I'm sure Peter has. I'm not taking that he just gives them the jerseys and off they go. But sometimes we can get carried away with defensive structures and we can get, make it complicated for ourselves. Like we've said, I've been saying it here with a couple of years. When you have the likes of David Cliffords, the Paul Gainey's, these guys who are natural footballers, the Brian Begleys, the Tom Sullivans, and you have the Gavin Crowleys and all these fellas to come back into it. It's like the boys said, it's very exciting. You just let them play. When they have the ball, there's no such thing as you have to kick the ball when you get to midfield and don't move. No, just let them off, because these guys, we are blessed in Kerry that we have natural footballers. We've been saying it for years. We've down through the years, and I think that's what Peter is doing. He's letting them play. Now it's still only February. We're not going to get carried away, and we've been hearing about stopping the 5 in a row and all this. But look, this is a great boost for the young fellas in Kerry.
There's a great buzz around the country,
and there's a great buzz for the supporters and everything. But I do think that with the way Kerry are setting up and with the young fellas and the fellas that are coming into it, it's very exciting. Very exciting for Kerry.
Yeah, very exciting. What do you, our listeners out there, think of those performances over the weekend, whether it's in Croke Park or else in Austin Stag Park? Get those comments through to us. We now take our first break of the evening.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry, brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie, leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk. Of course, tonight we talk about Kerry versus Dublin, of course Kilcummin's win, Beaufort's win, and later on the programme we'll be speaking to a man, asking him, does hurling get a fair amount of fair play, as we say, as in coverage by media in our county? But that's all to come later on. Those comments coming through to us. Well done to Beaufort on winning the Junior All-Ireland, and what a homecoming. Garda Escort, the fantastic Kilcummin senior biddy group. Well done to all, and that comes from a proud Beaufort listener. Congrats to Kilcummin and Beaufort and the Kerry on their triple on Saturday. A memorable day for Kerry GA from all in Brosnan. Of course, Brosnan is a team that Liam is going to carry to the summit once again. Now, I should have a man that starred in Croker last Saturday for the Kerry side, Beaufort. I should have Mike Breen on the line. Good evening, Mike.
I think, Tim. That's good.
You're very welcome to Terrace Talk, and a massive congratulations on behalf of us all here on Terrace Talk. Of course, the whole of the kingdom we're routing for you, Sissy. Did it go according to plan, or did you think it would be that easy, Mike?
Thanks, Tim. I'd say we didn't really think it would be as easy as what it was, but we had a plan in place, and I think it worked very well in the finish.
Mike, a lot of ball in that the first half. It broke around beyond midfield at times, even from their kick-outs. But yourself in the half-back line, yourself included, you were running right into the heart of that the opposition defence. Did you think that you get on so much ball in that first half?
No, I didn't really. I was free for a lot of it. They were kind of dropping men back and stuff, but we pushed up in their kick-outs and we got all the breaks there in the first half and we turned them into scores. So we had a mighty lead at the break. It was brilliant.
Yeah, what a start. Can I ask you about the occasion itself? That for going into, I suppose, Croke Park with you guys that you grew up with, it must. There was nervous. I suppose there was nerves for a few minutes until you got that first score. But what was that like to guys that you soldiered at underage, and suddenly you were in the field of dreams?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Running out onto Croke Park there was lads you've grown up with in school and played football with since you were 3 or 4. It was brilliant. I thought the lads were a bit nervous there right at the start, but we settled into it very well, I think.
And of course, the two men in the middle, Nathan Breen, your captain, and likewise Rona Murphy. They gave an exhibition in the middle of the park.
They did, yeah, sure. Jesus, I'd say we won 90% of their kickouts, and I think we won 100% of our own kickouts in the first half. And I suppose that's a bit credit to Taylor, our goalie, too. I think it might have been his last game, and he was brilliant. But the two boys in midfield were excellent altogether, yeah, and sure they have been like that throughout the year.
And of course, with you, the inside forwards there, they were absolutely brilliant. We've seen how Fergal Hallis, even that game against Drumtariff that day, absolutely brilliant. There was heroes throughout, right during the journey. But Liam Kerry, I suppose, took it to another level in Croke Park on Saturday.
He did, yeah. Jesus, he was brilliant. He scored 1-5, I think, in the finish, and I suppose he had a bit of experience there from being there with the minors too. I suppose that stood to him, but even all the forwards, different lads stood up throughout the year there in other games against Niguel and Churchill, against them tough games in bad weather there down in Kerry. They were brilliant.
Yeah, great stuff. How do you better this, Mike? You've All-Ireland Junior Club champs. Is it a case of going on and do what the Ardfert team did, go and try and win the intermediate?
Yeah, I think we'll give the intermediate a good rattle this year now. We have a very young squad. I think the average age is only 23 or 24. So I think we have a great chance in the intermediate, and it wants to be great to get to Croke Park again next year.
And of course, you're not finished. You're on the trail for glory again this coming weekend. You're part of the UCD setup. You take on St Mary's and the Sigerson. That's something to look forward to.
It is, yeah. I'm heading up to Dublin now for Sigerson training tomorrow evening. So we'll be looking forward to that Saturday down in Mallow. And I think we have a good chance of making the final of that too. So it might turn out a very great weekend. And
there's a few more Kerry men involved with UCD, I take it?
There is. You'd have Barry Dan O'Sullivan, Fikra Clifford, Tom Leo O'Sullivan there from Dingle, and Brian O'Shanachon, I think. So we have a good presence above there. Household names.
Any aspirations of putting the hand up for this Super Kerry team at the moment, Mike? The kind of form you're in. Is it a hope and aspiration for the future?
I suppose you'd have an aspiration for it, all right. But sure, we'll see how it goes anyway. We'll play it by year.
Listen, I know you're on your way to Dublin. Safe journey to you, Mike, and like I say, well done, and we're all proud of you down here in Kerry. Well done.
Thanks a million, Tim. Thanks very much.
Great stuff. That was Mike Breen. He absolutely starred at centre-back in Croke Park last Saturday against Eastkey. So we get back to the Kerry-Dublin game again. John, we mentioned earlier about the defensive strategy that we had in other games. We said a licence to roam. It's all about having legs, but Can I ask you about individual performances? First of all, you look at Dublin side, and they didn't have Stephen Cluxton. A lot of their attacks are built from where he starts. How did our own Shane Ryan do?
He did well, Tim. You know, the kick-outs were most of them went well for him in difficult conditions. He's a great presence around the goals, and you know there was one tricky one there. He fisted it out to Kerry, man. You know he's very composed. I think it's a trait that this Kerry team have, particularly the young guys. They're super confidence in them, like, you know, they're expressing themselves. There doesn't seem to be any shackles in them, like they're playing and they're going for it. And you know, Darragh Moynihan kicked a point from way out near the sideline, like it was a massive score. You know, before fellas would be slow to kick from that zone, that they'd be coming into the, you know, to the more of a scoring zone. They're not afraid to go at it. Joe O'Brien the same, like, you know, he pulled down a few great balls. Great pace as well, Diarmuid O'Connor. You know, it's and then you see Jack Sherwood inside at full back. You know, a guy that he's come in for a fair share of criticism over the last number of years, and you know, other guys mightn't have bothered, you know, but he's back in there now, and you could see the last day he was breaking tackles, like, and he was going up the field, and the crowd rise to that as well, Tim, and there's a great bond, I think, at the moment between the crowd and the Kerry players. You know, you could see it when there was turnovers there. Darragh Moynihan, Diarmuid O'Connor, Tom Sullivan, they turned over the Dubs once or twice. There was fellas punching the air inside in the stand. You know, that goes back onto the field.
Are we saying it didn't happen in a while with Kerry?
It didn't, Tim. It didn't, being honest with you. There seemed to be some kind of a breakdown between them, and after the game, Tim, I haven't seen it for a long time. Nobody wanted to leave the stand. They were waiting. They clapped the Kerry team off, like, and it wasn't just a clap.
Is it as if the Kerry supporter was starved for a number of years?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we'll, like Denny said while ago there, we're not getting carried away by any means.
Oh, you can't.
You have to have a reality check too, and, you know, we're top of the National League table. None of us around this table believe that would happen 2 months ago, to be fair.
I agree.
You know, and regardless what, there'll be people saying Dublin are in the middle of training, they're only back from a holiday. That happens every year with the All-Ireland champions. We haven't been top of the table for a long time. Nothing beats success. There's nothing to compare with winning games. Success breeds success. And now, you know, we're heading to Tuam in a couple of weeks' time. You have Mayo coming down again. These are quality games against good opposition, high intensity, different approaches. You know, you have to play the blanket defence. The likes of Mayo and Dublin will take you on at your own game, but you have to adapt. And I think we're adapting very well. And the other thing I think is our tackling, Tim. The Donny Buckley influence, how much he has done with them, I don't know, but you can certainly see it. They're getting in the tackles. They're reminiscent of Mayo.
Because our biggest fear with the last couple of years that, you know, maybe we give too much respect to other teams, and we often said, look, we didn't lay a hand on them, but the guys are getting the hand in now, tackles, that comes from a coaching structure.
It does, and Tim, a lot of them are playing on the verge, you know, on the edge, and I think that the great teams do it. Dublin do it. They have the footballers, but they play on the edge. They're hitting hard. You know, you see Johnny Cooper the last night, a superb defender. He went in with a tackle. He came out second best. He was limping out of it and he went off. Unfortunate to see a player like him going off because he's a class footballer. But it will tell you, we matched him. The tackling was ferocious. The intensity was unbelievable. And I think that it was a cauldron. And like Denny said, when you have a full house, everything is cheered then.
You work off the energy. Denny, a decisive moment in that first half was Stephen O'Brien's goal.
Yeah, and you know, the high ball in and the ball broken, you know, Stephen O'Brien was very impressive. Huge work rate by him. It was a very important score for Kerry because, you know, whereas that, you know, all the Kerry players are well capable of kicking points, a goal makes a huge psychological difference to a team. And I suppose, you know, Kerry went into the game obviously expecting good things, but the way things turned out, they probably even, you know, felt that when the game was over, that I won't say overachieved, but that they had put in a great shift. And I think the big difference is the work rate. The work rate has been phenomenal. Now, can they maintain that with a lot of training, whatever amount of training they've done? Obviously, they're going to be doing an awful lot more over the next couple of months. So come, you know, the Super 8s, can they maintain that over 3 or 4 weekends? That'll be the big question for the younger players. But the appetite is absolutely phenomenal.
And reading in the papers and listening to people at the game, a lot of people are surprised at the level of fitness by Kerry at this stage of the year.
Yeah, but
is that good or bad? Did you kind of phase it?
No, I don't see any problem with that because I think, Tim, that, you know, if every young fella is ambition is to play for Kerry at inter-county level or for whatever county he's from. And if you think you're in and around that grade, you will always be ready when you get your chance. And you have to be ready because the competition to get on a county team is so high, particularly here in Kerry, unless you're able to do all the basics well. And, that's discipline and all the other things that goes with playing inter-county football. When you get your chance, if you're not only half fit, well then, the Kerry public are very close to the Kerry team, and the Kerry team is very important to the Kerry public. I think John was saying there, the way Kerry supporters, the way they reacted to the team during the game and after the game. But Kerry supporters are, where they're marvellous supporters, they're critical supporters, but when their team, they'll follow their team to the end and they back their team and they love their football. So that all helps the players to put on performances when you have a full house, whether it be over in Killarney or in Austin Sack Park.
Yeah, very good. Those comments coming through to us. 3 in the bounce, Kerry, Kilcummin and Beaufort. What a great weekend to be a Kerry man. Peter Crowley's side was under pressure, but made up for it with a winning point. The Shed was unreal. The Shed? Is that what it's called, lads? The Shed was unreal. Atmosphere, but there is no speaker to tell who was coming on the pitch. As we go down to the opposite end of the pitch, we couldn't see who it was. But sure, take the good with the bad, and it's a great win, and that comes from Jamie. There was some atmosphere at the game last Saturday. It was like the day we met Mayo in Limerick. I know it's early. Kerry were very good and went toe-to-toe with Dublin and came out on top. They put serious pressure on for the last 15-20 minutes. They showed no fear. Hi Tim. Well, a fantastic day for Kerry on Saturday last. A great performance against Dublin. Congratulations to Kilcummin and Beaufort. My highlight was Sylvester dancing in the press box in the stand, and that comes from Pop Lynch. Hi Tim. Well done to Kerry on their win over Dublin in a cracking game, and shows what a great game it is when it's played the right way. Congratulations to Beaufort and Kilcummin. That comes from Charles. We now take a break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry. Brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie. Leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk, and just moving away from sport for a moment. The nurses' dispute has been suspended, says the INMO, and more to follow on that on the 7 o'clock news. And now we continue looking back at those games over the weekend, and I have a Beaufort supporter on the line. He's Jerry Kelleher. Good evening, Jerry.
Good evening. How are you doing?
You're very welcome to Terrace Talk.
Thank you very much.
Jerry, tell me, we've had the player side of it. Mike Breen was on his way back up to Dublin as they get ready for, I suppose, studies, the academic side of it. Likewise, a big game against St Mary's the weekend. From a supporter's point of view, what were those emotions like? The whole build-up, going to Croke Park, winning there and coming back to your own people.
It was fantastic. I mean, it's a bit surreal, I suppose, still at the moment. Celebrations are still carrying on. But it was fantastic. I mean, it was great for the club. Like, it's you know, everybody was involved, and it was great. It was great to win an Ireland with your club. Like, it's just fantastic. Like, because everyone knows everyone, and
yeah, and that's the bit. And it's been a mixed journey. Games where you were very convincing with some of the results, but other games then made it probably difficult for yourself. I suppose one prime example is the Drum Tariff game. So All Irelands don't come easy.
No, they definitely don't. No, the Drum Tariff was very tough. I suppose you always need that bit of luck as well on your side. And I say we got a bit of over the green against Drum Tariff, but I suppose even before that, like we'd say the club junior was in Kerry was very tough too. I mean, even down to the semi-final against Churchill in Milltown,
could have gone anyway.
Extra time, yeah. Could have gone anyway, exactly. And sure, the Nigale game in the final was a fantastic game as well. Like, so it could have went either way. And at that early stage,
the Beaufort supporters, Jerry, they kicked every ball with the lads, even though they didn't need any help from the sidelines. I'm sure they fed off the energy coming from the Hogan stand as well.
Oh, I think I'd say so. Yeah, because even the build up to it as well was fantastic. Like, yeah, and sure, like, we had good confidence in the team because there's a fantastic squad there as well. Like, so I think there's 44, 45 players I think that are involved in the senior team.
And a great buzz. I spoke to Fergus Kelly earlier today, the selector, and he was saying they were taking the cup around to the school. So there'll be young boys and girls trying to emulate what these lads did for their parish in the years to come.
No, yeah, absolutely, and like it's fantastic, and sure that's what it's all about. Like it was great for them to go to the schools this morning, I think. But like that, no, I think the underage structure now is very good in the club, and I think they'd only go from strength to strength after this as well, like, because I think that's what they all strive to do.
And will you go off and win an intermediate?
I suppose that's the plan. That's the plan. I think hopefully. I think there's a fantastic management team there, spearheaded by Ian O'Malley. Like, so they're and hopefully they're not going to step down. Hopefully they'll keep going and drive on, and hopefully I suppose that's the main aim now. I think is having a good intermediate.
Yeah, great stuff. Jerry, we'll let you go back and enjoy the celebrations, and well done again. We're delighted for you. Thanks a million.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Supporter of Beaufort there, Jerry Kelleher. We get back now to our Dublin Kerry game, and a few comments coming into us. Noreen Flaherty, Tralee feels 20 years younger after Kerry beaten Dublin. Congrats to all concerned, and well done to the Kerry ladies, Beaufort and Kilcummin. Cheerio to 5 in a row. Love the last line there. Do the panel think that the county board were wrong to deprive Kerry and Dublin supporters of not being able to attend the match on Saturday night when another venue could have accommodated a lot more supporters? And that's for Liam Brosnan.
Thanks, Tim. It's a tricky enough one. Look, realistically, the way I look at it, Tim, is that the first game of the season against Tyrone inside, I think we had about 13,000, was it 14,000 inside in Killarney. Tralee have to get its bit as well. But I don't think, like somebody was saying, if it was in Killarney we'd have 30,000. We wouldn't. What it would have maybe 1,000 or 2 extra. But no, I thought Tralee is an ideal place for a game like that. The atmosphere, the whole lot. So
you're an East Kerry man. Oh, yeah. You're a St. Kieran's man as well. And actually, I was looking somewhere today, and I see back in 1997 you broke an Irish record with in the basketball arena, 43 points. That's just going off on another tangent. Liam, would you get that atmosphere in Killarney?
You wouldn't, Tim. No, honestly, you wouldn't. The atmosphere, we often said it here about Tralee, is that even though I saw there was something up about Tralee about being one of the biggest fields in the country, they went through about into county fields, and Tralee is up there size wise. And I often had a run in with Lord Mercy Vince here. Vince to be ringing me on a Monday, or on a Tuesday, what do you say last night about Tralee? But Tralee plays tight, Tralee, because the crowd is on top of you. There's a great atmosphere, even for county finals. Once you get any 7,000 or 8,000 people in there, there's a great buzz, and players work off that then as well. Killarney, like if you had maybe that 10 or that 12,000 inside Killarney Sunday, I don't think the atmosphere would be. It'd be kind of lost in there. Anyone that was inside the Tyrone game, I don't think there wasn't much of an atmosphere in there. Now Dublin.
I think anybody there that did were lucky enough to get in there last Saturday night. Exactly. They wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
No, and you know what, Tim? It adds. It's like running in the nightclubs there who keep fellas outside the door, and they keep they make that full feeling and builds up the atmosphere. It was like that. Like the tickets were gone 2 weeks before the game. Everyone was looking. It was like an All-Ireland final.
They were all sold out 3 times.
They were sold out, yeah. And next thing there was a phone call that Garvey's have them again, and there was a mad panic down to Garvey's. And next thing people were coming out the door, they were gone in 2 or 3 minutes.
Jim Garvey's smiling in the meantime.
But it added to the whole atmosphere. And look, Tralee needs his bit as well, and they did put on a show all right now for the weekend.
John Kennedy, Denny was speaking there about Stephen O'Brien's goal. What did you like about the Kerry setup in that first half that made it interesting for you and say, look, things are different?
I think, Tim, they mixed it in the first half. They went defensive early on, as we said already. Maybe 13, 14 men behind the ball. But I think, there seems to be a method with what they do, Tim. The one thing they didn't want, I suppose, was for Dublin to start well. Get their house in order. And we've been saying here for quite some time, I'm repeating it again, is that our defence, the centre of our defence, we leak scores. We didn't give cover to our full back line, and we were saying that throughout last year, and again it was happening, and we weren't putting pressure on outside. Didn't mention there about the intensity and the work rate. It starts above it, corner forward. The quality of ball going into the forwards isn't what it should be when there's pressure on. And then when you have a man inside playing in front of the D, to sweep, it's very, very difficult to get it in. we were playing against some of the best forwards in the country the last night. You know, they had 5 of the 6 starting forwards probably. Kieran Kilkenny was the guy that was missing there. And, you know, Dean Rockin and you know, Mannion, they are superb footballers, like, you know. And they were under savage pressure. Cormac Costello, what a job Paul Murphy did. They were under pressure all the time. They were double and triple marked. What I think is the pace that we have and the fitness. We have to say this. Whatever training Kerry have done, now there's a lot of young lads there, they have a natural fitness anyway, and Denny is right in that guys are ready to come in. Obviously that they have put in huge work, because I think we are ahead of Dublin on fitness at this point in time. We were ahead of Tyrone on fitness as well. So I think that the fitness is standing to us for the game we're playing, and I'd agree with Denny there. Like, I think that we will continue, because we have an astute management team, we have one of the best tacticians in the game in Donny Buckley, and we saw what he brought to Mayo. And I think, look, the confidence that has come from winning underage titles, you can see it with the guys. They're going out to express themselves. It's working really well so far. And I think that, you know, even if they're beaten, somebody else covers back. They're swarming and they're breaking at fast pace. And we did this against the All-Ireland champions. Regardless what condition they're in, they're the standard bearers in the country. And like Denny said, they have been dominating league and championship over the last 5 years. And look, it went down to the wire, but we came out of the right side. And I think the character we showed, when Dublin came back to level it, a lot of people thought we could lose this one, but we didn't. We weathered, but we came back, we attacked, and we...
That sort of experience is worth anything to team.
Yeah.
Denny, John said there was the work, the intensity that's needed in the modern game, what Kerry did in the first half of the last day.
Oh yeah, sure, Tim. Like, you know, we've seen the game change so much over the last number of years. It's always evolving, but you know, Kerry now have in the present setup, they seem to have decided that, you know, you have to join them if you want to win All Irelands, and Kerry are playing a very similar game now to what Dublin play and Tyrone play and Mayo and Donegal and these teams. And you know, what you need above all for that type of game is legs, and Kerry have legs all over the field, and I'm sure the Kerry management, that's what they're looking for. They want fellas who can go, and the big thing which I, you know, am agreeing with now is that you need to have 5 or 6 fellas to come in. And that's what the big teams are doing. You could get...
How you finish.
Yeah, you get 50 minutes, 55 minutes. You want to keep that intensity up. You have a number of players who cannot do that for over 70 minutes. So then your substitutes, and they again maintain that...
Carry on the baton.
Exactly. So that's how you get success. And Kerry are going that direction. Maybe a lot of the old Kerry supporters, the new young Kerry supporter obviously never saw the old game. So the game is very enjoyable for them. We all fellas might say, well, the traditions are going out of it, but if you want to win,
you have to move with the times.
You have to move with the times.
And now we hear from our Kerry supporters, of course, the students from the Radio Kerry ETB radio broadcasting course went around the streets of Tralee today to get their views.
What did you think of the Kerry and Dublin game Saturday night?
It was a really exciting game, really tight, fantastic football. I mean, you were kind of thinking after how many games has Keane actually lost? You know what I mean? Really. But has it any relationship to the championship that's coming up? Probably not. A totally different competition. They'll have changed the teams by then. They'll have learnt about each other. But yeah, it was just a really, really exciting game this weekend.
And do you think that they can stop Dublin going for the 5 in a row?
Maybe. You know, I don't know yet. We'd have to see a couple of more league games. We'll see how Dublin go. I know Dublin have lost their first 2, but like I said, that still doesn't really mean anything. You know, Dublin can up their game. They didn't have their whole team on. They had some injuries. I know Kerry are the same. It's really exciting to Kerry a young team, but maybe that's the only problem. That when it comes to the crunch, will Kerry not have enough experience to deal with Dublin's experience? So that's where we might fall down. But in saying that, I am a Kerry man, so yeah, we'll beat the Dubs.
They have good, and they're playing different type of football now than what they were playing than the last manager. They're faster and they're young.
And do you think they'll stop Dublin in the 5 in a row?
That's hard to say now, like, because this early we don't take any notice of the league down here to the championship.
Great match altogether. Very good, yeah.
Do you think that they will stop Dublin in the 5 in a row?
I don't know. I can't really say that. Like, you know, they're good enough at the moment, anyway, but I think they'll get better. That's all I can say is they will get better, and Dublin will get better too. Like, you know, but we're the 2 best teams in Ireland at the moment. It's all about the size of it now.
What did you think of the Kerry and Dublin game?
I thought it was quite intense. It was matched all the way through by both teams, and it was just a good match.
And do you think that Kerry will stop Dublin going for the 5 in a row?
I think so, yeah. They want to stop them, so I believe they can.
See the last few moves there, they were very fast, unbelievably fast. That's Dublin when they were at their best. That's when Kerry starting.
And that fullback then they brought on, that new fullback they have there. He played a few years ago. The fullback.
Yeah, but
I never see a fullback come up the field so much. That's what I mean. He's taken off, sure. He shot up the field a few times now, which is unknown now, for a fullback, and he kicked the point as well.
They're all able to play. See the cornerback. See our cornerback. He got the last point. Yeah. Crowley, came up from he got the last point. He got the
ball over the bar. He fisted it over the bar.
Yeah, but he could have gone for a goal. Another fella gone for a goal. A young fella would have gone for a goal.
Yeah. Peter has the experience.
He's played a long time now.
He's at it a while.
Although he didn't the great first half, but he played all right. I'm not against that team now. They taught them very well, I thought, because I just say you have to be there to see it, you know what I mean? That's it. And I love watching it. I was really pleased, and it was a great weekend for her.
Yeah, great stuff there, and many thanks there to the students from the Radio Kerry ETB radio broadcasting course, and everything is positive out there, and hopefully it will be a great journey this year. Just get one or two comments before we take our next break. Hi Timmy, what's heartening to see this Kerry defensive frailty of being vulnerable when you run at being addressed, a semblance of the game plan and a refusal by the young lads to be intimidated. And I suppose that's what happened last Saturday night. It's early days yet, and there will be knockbacks probably even in the coming weeks, but the players to come back, and hopefully incremental improvement as time goes, and bodies will be there for the future. And that comes from Brendan in Offaly, and I'd say Brendan is a Kerry man. Congratulations to all playing this weekend. My message to the Kerry team is keep your feet on the ground and the best of luck going forward. And that comes from Mick Moriarty in County Meath. And just one other text we got in here, and you might think about this during the break as well, lads, and our listeners out there. Lads, Kevin McCarthy scored 3-7 from play in the All-Ireland final. Has this been done before? Others have scored as much. However, some of it may be from place balls. We now take a break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry. Brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie. Leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
Did you very well come back here to Terrace Talk. Of course, I have in studio Denny Long, John Kennedy and Liam Brosnan as we look back at the weekend sporting action. Now, we have a journalist on the line, but tonight he's wearing his supporters hat because he's a Kilcummin man, and his name is Jason O'Connor. Jason, you're very welcome to Terrace Talk.
Good evening, Tim.
Well, I congratulated you up on the Hogan stand on Saturday. Tell me what it's like been since then. A great night and a great trip home.
Oh, it's been fantastic, Tim. I suppose, obviously, after the celebrations and everything, or within Croke Park had died down, everyone went back to the Red Cow Hotel, where the team were based for the night. Obviously, there were other supporters as well staying in the Maldron and Newlands Cross, but the party went well long into the small hours.
And coming back, I take it we've seen a lot in social media over the last 24 hours, the preparation, and then the bonfires and teams being introduced on stage, and that it must be a very proud moment to be a supporter of Kilcummin.
It is. I suppose, obviously, Tim, I suppose probably maybe more special from my own point of view, having seen all the other Kerry clubs do this. I mean, 10 years ago I was up there and I saw Skellig Rangers and St. Michael's Filemore do the double. This year, 10 years ago, I suppose, I won't name them all because I'll probably forget so many of them that I've seen since. But obviously, I suppose for the club in more particular, in recent times, it probably is significant. Obviously, lost their senior status in 2017, struggled actually to find a manager after Donald Dwyer and Pat Driscoll stepped down. Willie Maher was appointed to find the manager, and it ended up that he was coaxed into taking it on himself, and it all just, I suppose, has skyrocketed from there. I suppose a few other subtle things. A few players came back that had been missing for a couple of years. A few players came in like Sean O'Leary and a few more, and it just all kind of came together nicely to create what has happened.
We talk about the celebration, but has it sunk in with the players yet what they've achieved? They move on to senior status next year, but winning an All-Ireland with your club, who knows, maybe they might go off and win an All-Ireland senior club, but it doesn't come around every year.
No, it doesn't. Well, I suppose senior is not really a novelty, Tim, because, look, they were a senior club for 20 years. Between 1998 and 2017. I suppose there was a trip into Munster as well in 2007, but I think what made this more special is the fact that they went into Munster this time as champions. In 2007, they went in as last club standing in the county semi-finals because the other three teams were divisional sides, and I don't think they were ready for it. Being honest, obviously they did beat Lizzie Casey above Edis, which was a great day, but they lost to Ballynacorty from Waterford in the Munster semi-final in Fitzgerald Stadium after, but I think it just felt different, and I suppose obviously with the change to the calendar last year and the fact that there were 6 months of preparation for this,
it definitely gave them the luxury. We're cut for time, Jason. Look, all I can say is enjoy the celebration. It's been a brilliant journey and we're delighted that we were with you all the way. Well done again.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Of course, that's Jason O'Connor there, a journalist stroke a supporter of Kilcummin, and he's absolutely delighted. Liam, we mentioned about the Kerry setup. Actually, there was a mention there, and I know we're going off on a tangent about Kilcummin for the minute. 3-7 by a player in Croke Park. Has that been done before? You're a guy that can sing off these things.
Not that I know of, Tim. Look, even 3-7 in a club game's huge, not to mind an All-Ireland final. And
John Kennedy did it for Asti one day. And
a Parish League game, I think he was just saying it there off here,
It's massive scoring.
Oh, it's massive.
But to have everything
and an All-Ireland final, Tim, it's
I know we'll be talking more,
an incredible record.
More after 7 about that. Going in at half time, Peter Keane and his management team, supporters, would be delighted with the way Kerry were playing.
Very much so. And like when they came out in the second half, they just stuck to their game plan. One fellow who we haven't mentioned a whole pile and who I think has put in a massive shift again the weekend was Adrian Spillane. Some people were coming out after, and even the last few days they were scratching their heads saying, "Do you know how good was here?" I thought Adrian, it's the work rate he does and the stuff he does off the ball. That's what if people watch that, don't be looking at the fellas that are on the ball and kicking the points and stuff like that. And I think that's the way Peter is looking at Adrian. Like, if you can get a good 50 minutes out of Adrian Spillane and then pop a fella off the bench and replace him, Adrian will give you everything. He's an athlete. He's a fella that can get up and down the field, and a massive addition this year. Definitely with Joe O'Brien there and Gavin in as well. No, big boy.
Are we saying that if things work with Jack Barry and Adrian Spillane, that it could be Dave Moran finishing out?
I suppose our biggest thing here was we were afraid of midfield, and I think we're after unearthing players here. Like midfield now, you don't need to be big, strong. If we look at the Dublin boys, they're athletic. And the same now with our boys here. We've been crying out for a Gavin O'Brien. We've been crying out for Adrian Spillane. Now we have Jack Barry. We have maybe Matt Griffin who could fill in that role. So Peter has options, which is great. And just the one point that I'd like to make there, when Dublin got their goals, Tim, we came down the field and we kicked points straight away. And after the first goal, Callahan scored his goal. Tom Sullivan came down and kicked a great point. The second goal Dublin got, it was O'Brien came down and kicked a great point. Great response. So a great response,
Yeah, great stuff. We'll get the lads. You're going to stay with us as we now take a break for the news at 7.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry. Brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie. Leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk. Coming up later on, we'll be speaking about hurling to Risteard O'Fuarain, and we should have James McCarthy, the former Kerry player, and of course his club is Kilmiley. That'll be all to come later. There's comments coming through to us. Tim, great commentary on both games on Saturday. You missed a fantastic cosy atmosphere in Osselstag Park under lights. We had a fantastic time before and after the game, and that comes from, congrats again, and that comes from Chiffon in Tralee. Morris Long, Birmingham, ex-Knocknagoshel, a very proud Kerryman this week. Wonderful game, couldn't have been any better. Well done to the teams, management, to all concerned on Saturday. Pat from North Kerry, a great game Saturday, but don't like all this pushing and shoving before the ball is kicked out. Something should be done about it, and it doesn't look good. Few calls about the vile abuse that was directed towards Jim Gavin and the Dublin team on Saturday night by the Kerry supporters. This is not support and should be stopped. It was a tremendous game, but that marred it. John Kennedy, Did you rush out to the pitch, or did you hear any of that sort of abuse going on?
I didn't, Tim, being honest with you. I didn't hear it. I mean, where I was inside in the stand, and I'd have to say there was great banter between both sets of supporters, you know, and it's unique in the GA, as we know, that you have them mingling, and the Dublin are great supporters, look, and there was tremendous banter. There was a few incidents in the field, Tim, but look...
You're going to get that, aren't you?
You're going to get that, and, you know, if people think you're not going to get it, well, they're in a different world, really, because some of the things, look, there was nothing sinister in it. There were certainly tough tackles went in on both sides, and I think it was played at championship pace, Tim. It was played with great intensity, and two teams that wanted to win. Kerry wanted to lay down a marker at home against the All-Ireland champions. Jim Gavin wanted to get it back on the winning ways. So I suppose, look, you could see with the substitutions he made in the second half, the McCaffreys and the Michael Darras and the Paul Flynns, he brought these on, McMenamin, to get the 2 points, and you know, he almost snatched the draw, but look, you can't condone negative stuff like that. I wouldn't ever condone that, but look, it happens.
It does, yeah.
It's up to the officials to deal with it, and you know, you move on.
Liam Brosnan, you're getting all the tough questions tonight, Liam. Mark would like to know from the panel, especially Liam, I suppose, was Jack Savage and Barry John Keane dropped from the panel? You're the guy that drives around the county now on a daily basis, and you're a very good job.
Driving around the county. Yeah, they weren't asked. I won't say dropped. They probably weren't asked when Peter went back. He kind of had a clean sheet, and he asked the fellas in who he wanted to ask in. Now, there was a lot of publicity about the way it was done. Probably wasn't done properly. There may be a phone call could have done it, but as far as I know, they weren't asked. I had Jack Savage in with the college.
He was brilliant.
Played very well, so I wouldn't rule Jack out.
Isn't that a luxury piece of Keane has? These guys could be shooting the lights out.
He has, and I think, and I'm just hearing from outside in that he has been bringing in guys who have been playing well in Sigerson. I think Greg Horn has been kind of called in, and he's looking at the likes of Jack and these fellas. So Peter will have an open door, and I do think, look, when Peter started, he wanted a clean canvas, so he started that way. The way it was managed probably could have been managed better, but as far as now, going back to the question, yeah, they were dropped off the panel.
Denny, in the second half, when Dublin started unloading their bench, they really tested Kerry.
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, Kerry had put in such a huge shift that, you know, it's probably only natural now in games of that intensity that the pace was going to knock off a bit by Kerry. But I think overall, you'd have to say that Kerry stood up to the examination pretty well. I suppose the big question that most people will be asking today is that how far ahead are Kerry in terms of fitness? How far are Dublin behind? Only Jim Gavin and the Kerry management know what they have done. Jim Gavin knows what his team have done. Is there a lot more to come from the fitness-wise for Dublin? You would imagine there is. I presume Dublin are looking to the Super 8s. It looks as certainty that they'll be in the Super 8s, the way the system works. And Leinster, as we know now, is quite poor. Kildare were beaten yesterday by Fermanagh. I saw Kildare playing Cork last Sunday week, and they were quite poor now. Maybe they're all doing heavy training at the moment. I'm not sure of that. But I think when Dublin put on the pressure, it was only natural that Dublin would come into the game big at some stage. Their reputation was on the line. They're very proud players. They won the last 4 All-Irelands. It was only natural that they would come at Kerry to see what reaction. But Kerry stood up well to the reaction, and obviously came out winning by a point.
Yeah, that character definitely shows them. Those comments come through to us, and thanks a million to all our listeners tonight for the comments. Hopefully we'll get through as many as possible. And Noel from Tralee, Kerry won't win any All-Ireland until Dublin win 5 in a row. After that, maybe Kerry could win a few in a row. Do the lads think Peter was holding something back for the championship? We know the local radio cheer for Kerry, but our team should be impartial, but they weren't. They were all for Dubs and didn't want Kerry to win at all. A great night on Saturday night. Foot for thought, though. Lost a 4-point lead after Dublin went a man down. We kicked 3 times directly to Dublin, Griffin, Moran and O'Sullivan, and persisted with a long kick out when the Dubs had 14, and Dublin started to dominate in the middle, a third with McCaffrey and Finton winning clean balls from the kick out. That at least 5 concessions of possession in championship minutes. Very positive performance, but lessons can be learned. John Kennedy.
Yeah, look, you were playing the champions, Tim. They were 5 points down, a man down, and certainly they made the changes, like some McCarthy coming in there, Paul Flynn. You know, they took the game to Kerry. They got some great scores. Kerry they had put in a huge shift, and they were bound to, the energy levels were dropping, and any mistake was punished. But you'd have to say, like, when you're playing a team of the calibre of Dublin, they didn't want to get hockey down in Tralee. You know, and they showed what they meant, whether they had the fitness or the legs to do it or not. The intensity was there. They upped their work rate. You could see that they were driving in. McCaffrey went in a few runs there. He couldn't get inside the Kerry defence, and they had to recycle the ball. But Kerry regrouped, and especially, Tim, as I said earlier on in the programme, when they came level, a lot of people around us felt we had lost our chance. You know, it was going to be a great performance and maybe lose by a point. But we came up the field and got... And as the listeners there said, we did give away 3 or 4 balls. But, you know, there was a bit of tiredness setting in. You know, that vision maybe wasn't there. There was a bit of lethargic maybe, you know, in our approach. And the kicking, it was... Mark Griffin and David Moran did give away 2 balls. But look, they made up for it afterwards. And I think it was David Moran that flicked it to Crowley to get the score. And look, what intensity and what work rate from Crowley, who done a marvellous job in defence all night. He had the stamina to go up the field. And as one of the listeners said, a young fella could have gone for a goal. He flisted it over the bar. Showed his experience.
Yeah, great stuff. Those comments, the performance was more important than the result, but the result was very gratifying. Very impressed by the speed and intensity. Hard to beat running at the opposition. Any concerns that Dublin clawed back our lead again at the end, although we got the winning point, and that comes from Sean De Bruyne and Fieries. The young and fearless Kerry team reminds me a lot of the 75 team. Enjoying your programme, and that comes from Sylvie Dwyer in Kilcummin. And Pat from Corrie and Mick from County Meath think that David Clifford scored the same as Kevin McCarthy in the minor final 2 years ago. So I think some of those were from place balls. Liam, those comments coming through to us, everything is positive. It's very easy to pick holes that things happen during the game, but because it's 70 minutes of intense football,
it's nice to have positivity, because we were around this table long enough, and we were kind of coming in from messages and supporters that we were kind of negative and we were this and that. Look, we're delighted to be speaking about Kerry playing well and management doing well and stuff like that, and you know, so it's about time that we kind of sat back and enjoyed it and go with the flow now at the moment. And look, like we said, it's still February.
And is there a connection got with the Kerry supporters and the team?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. You can even feel it on the road when you meet the Kerry supporters now. There's a different atmosphere, and like we said a couple of months ago, Peter Keane was always going to get a kind of a hall pass for the first 12 months, but now after no one expected these 3 wins. No idea. I wouldn't have sitting here. I wouldn't have expected them myself. I would have been very happy.
He's got the Kerry supporters on his side.
Yes, with the performances and with the young fellas what they're doing. The only thing is February. I think what's going to be huge, to be honest, with Dublin, Tim, is Croke Park. Like the atmosphere below it last day, you swing that to an all-on a final where Dublin might have 50,000 supporters. I think that's the key, is above in Croke Park.
We're travelling up together.
Dublin are a different. Are we travelling where together?
Croke Park.
Croke Park. If we could get the all-on finals, I'd truly, we'd be doing well.
The Tralee business are delighted.
Yeah, but I just think that Croke Park is a huge advantage to Dublin.
Yeah, definitely so. Tim, have to tell you a quick story since you're on about the abuse on supporters at the Kerry game. There was 3 Dublin supporters who stayed in Killarney after the match, and they heard of Kilcummin's win and arrived up to the clubhouse last night. They partied like ourselves and had a mighty night, and fair play to them from a proud Kilcummin supporter. That's actually a lovely, lovely story. We now take a break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry, brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie, leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk. I have Denny Long, John Kennedy and Liam Brosnan in studio, and those comments are coming flying through to us, always on a post-match or whatever, be it hurling, football, and when Kerry get competitive and win, well, we get those comments. Hi Tim, well done to Kilcummin Saturday. It was a great game. I would love to see Kevin McCarthy corner forward for Kerry. That comes from Marguerite in Fieries. Up Kilcummin. Congratulations to Seamus Mulville, who refereed his first National League game yesterday. London versus Wexford. Dr. Crokes, Conor O'Neill and Spas Matthew Moynihan played on the full back line for the victorious London team. Well done to everyone there. Of course, Seamus is a regular contributor here on Terrace Talk. Well, of course, later on in the programme, we'll have, speaking about is Kerry Hurling the poor relation as far as getting a profile in our county. And I'll be speaking to Risteard O'Fuarain and likewise James McCarthy. Now we'll talk about, we talked about Kerry and Dublin, and I'm sure we'll be touching it for the rest of the programme at different times. But let's talk about the All-Ireland club, lads. It's something that's near and dear to everyone. But Denny Long... Kev, I suppose going back, Kilcummin man, he's a very proud man tonight, the MEP Sean Kelly, to open the doors of Croke Park, and suddenly his own team wins the intermediate club.
Yeah, what a lovely story really for Kilcummin and Sean Kelly. In fairness to Sean Kelly, he did something very brave. It was a brave step. It was huge for small clubs. I know it's hard to define small clubs anymore, but it gave a great chance or a great opening to clubs up and down the country. And to think that a short few years later, his own club Kilcummin had a fantastic day in Croke Park on Saturday. Willie Marr, I soldiered with Willie for a few years. Delighted for him. A great GA man. And another young man over there, young Noel Duggan, who has great connections with my place at home in Mill Street. His grandfather, Noel C., fantastic supporter of the GA, his father Barry, his aunts and his uncle.
Mom Breather has a fair bit of luck. She was there with Brosnan.
Correct.
And suddenly there was her own son's club.
Barry's our young Duggan's mother. She won it with Brosnan now to see her son bringing home an All-Ireland, and I'm sure his grandfather and grandmother are absolutely over the moon. It's great for Kilcummin, and Kilcummin are very proud and very, very, very strong club. And I saw them playing the Stacks in the first round of the county Division 2 last year, and they gave the Stacks.
They beat Stacks, didn't they?
They beat Stacks. They gave them a bit of a dusting. So, very strong intermediate. They probably will be very strong as well in the senior championship. But again, congratulations to them, and their whole working etiquette over there, their field and their whole thing, and the support that they have and the love that they have for football. They deserve that, and 'tis great to see them win an All-Ireland championship.
Yeah, definitely so. John, you've novice in Kerry, you've junior premier. Is it getting harder for the lower divisions now to win a junior championship? Because we've seen Glenbeigh in recent years hovering around the Division 1, Beaufort Division 1, Division 2. Is it getting more difficult for 3, 4 and 5?
Impossible, Tim, really. The standard is, I suppose it's the envy of a lot of counties, from my time in Clare there and speaking to lads in Limerick across the border, like the structures in Kerry are excellent, Tim. The county leagues and the championships and the competitiveness of it is fantastic. And, the stronger teams are dominating and the stronger clubs. But look, that's
the toughest part is probably to come out of Kerry, isn't it?
There's no doubt. I mean, you look at it every year, the team that comes out maybe going to replay or extra time. There's no cakewalk in Kerry anymore. Like they're so even. And you look at Kilcummin and you look at Beaufort. Look at the runs they had to come through and the tough games, the encounters within the county. And it's brilliant though, Tim. It's back to the grassroots level. And this initiative by Sean Kelly was a master stroke, because it has given the championships in Kerry a new lease of life, in that every team... Because
in years gone by, it was about winning that junior in your own county, and that was it. You've achieved the... Now there's more.
Yeah, because look, a team with ambition, Tim, and that are near enough, the lure and the carrot of Croke Park, and whether you win or lose, running out in Croke Park with your club on All-Ireland final day, there's nothing to match it, and you're playing with the lads that you grew up with, and for the likes of William Maher and Brendan Keeley and these lads and Kevin McCarthy, what an exhibition, brilliant for them. But it's for the lads that have set the seeds there and have put the pitch and the facilities in Kilcummin. That was their day yesterday. And for Beaufort likewise, for all those lads, the Liam Careys and these sort of the Mike Breens that have come through the underage ranks in Kerry to go out in Croke Park and win with the club, and Fergus Kelly and all the lads like Tim Coffey that have put their life and soul and heart into football in their own club. What a proud day for them.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Great stuff. Lads, you might put on your headphones there. You're well known throughout the world, lads, and there's people up in Dublin that listen to you as well. They know your name. They're on personal terms, I'd say, with you. Because I met a Dublin supporter over the weekend who listens to Terrace Talk after every Kerry game, despite having no connections to the county. Have a listen to this. Well, the Dubs have come to town this weekend, and I'm delighted. I've caught up with one of them, Ger Richardson. Ger, you're very welcome to Kerry, first of all.
Thanks very much, Tim, for having us. Yes, we had a great time.
A great time. The result mightn't have gone your way, but looking back on last night's game, Ger, Dublin coming to town, maybe in the middle of pre-season training, for want of a better word, and weighing holidays, it was always going to be a difficult task coming to Kerry.
Of course it is. It's always difficult when you come down to Kerry. You get no favours down here of a Kerry man, let me tell you. But I have to say, on the game itself, Kerry, I thought Kerry were really, really good. They went down the middle of Dublin on numerous occasions and scored a good few scores. And I think young Sean O'Shea, is going to be some player.
You're looking at Dublin. Dublin unloaded the bench then, and they were coming back, even though they were down to 14 men. They came back at Kerry, but Kerry on the other side, they're in transition. A new manager coming in. Can you see something different about Kerry?
I can. There's a lot of pace in the team, an awful lot of pace in the team now. And as I said to you, they were very direct, going back to the old style Kerry, kicking the ball, and none of this packed defence, So
and that's something we've probably been looking for some time.
Yeah.
You've been obviously you're going for 5 in a row in Dublin, but what's it like to be a Dublin supporter over the last, say, 4 or 5 years? Every year you're expected now to be in the All-Ireland final. You're heading for 5 in a row. Really brilliant times, it must have been.
It's incredible team, absolutely incredible, and they're a great team. The lads, they're brilliant. They're all so humble. The way they go about their business, they're never on the front of the papers. It's always on the back of the papers.
Where does that come from, Joe?
I think that comes from Jim Gavin. Jim Gavin has that instilled into them big time. He's just a great guy, Jim.
And very, very humble, these guys.
Oh, very, 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 very humble. Yeah, do a lot of work for charities that goes unnoticed.
And we're always picking little things down here. Kerry connections on that team as well. Brian Finton, the DNA, the bloodline is good. There's Kerry connections.
Oh, there is plenty of Kerry connections, yeah. Well, going back to time, Bernard Brogan, his mother, the Brogans, yeah. So.
And the new players coming on stream, every year he's this way of introducing players onto the panel, and he's always got a surprise package.
Oh yeah, he's always looking for new players. Again, he's not afraid to blood young lads. He just throws them in, and if they're good enough, you'll stay there. If you're not, if you moved on, someone else will get a chance.
Ger, what's the situation with Jim McConnelly? He's an outstanding footballer. And for a Dublin supporter out there, you want him back in the panel, I take it?
Of course you want him back, you know what I mean? He's just what an option to have. Great player.
And lives on the edge?
Oh, and plays on the edge as well, let me tell you. But it'd be great to have him back in the team. It just gives Dublin such another string to their bow, attacking wise as well.
Ger, looking over the weekend in the town of Tralee, there was a massive atmosphere. Packed Austin Stack Park last night, but even people coming down on Friday. Do you tend to go to a lot of these games, the league games? We always talk about the Dubs. The furthest away they go is Croke Park. But to see here in force this weekend, it was a joy to behold.
The Dubs travel. We'll go anywhere we're told to play. We'll play, and come the championship. If we have to come down to Killarney on a sunny summer's day to play a Super 8 game, we're ready for it. We'll be down.
Ger, the reason I'm speaking to you, one of the reasons that you're a Dub supporter and we're delighted to have you, the other reason I was chatting to you over the weekend, and in conversation you came, which surprised me, you listened to a certain programme on Radio Kerry. Might you tell us about that?
Yes, I listened to Terrace Talk. That's presented by yourself, Tim, and Denny, John and Liam. They're great guys, very knowledgeable, speak honest stuff, don't say it as it is, pull no punches.
And we're probably up against prime time, other big sporting programmes, but how did you come by listen to Radio Kerry or Terrace Talk?
It was through social media, Tim. I was just looking at on sites, and people would say Terrace Talk, tune in. So I'd be on the Kerry pages, being a bit nosy now, seeing what's happening down here.
Is that because you feel Kerry are a threat and you keep an eye on them?
Kerry are always a threat. So,
but there's something special, you listening, you were up in Dublin, you told me some of your friends listen to Radio Kerry and podcast, Terrace Talk and podcast. There's some special connection, isn't there, between Dublin and Kerry?
There is. It's going back a long time now, Tim, to Mick O'Dwyer, Kevin Heffernan, they bring so much to the game, and it's great buzz around them when they're playing each other.
And the Dubs love for Kerry to be coming to town on All-Ireland final day as well if they're playing them.
Oh yeah, it's great. There's nothing like well, it used to be the third Sunday in September, Dublin and Kerry, Croke Park. Brilliant.
So we are heading back to Dublin this Sunday evening. You look forward to the rest. Would you hope that Dublin will get as far as the league final, or just to keep their Division 1 status? Is it all about the 5 in a row, the drive for 5?
Oh, that's it. The 5 in a row is the only thing that's on their mind. Like, they could get relegated to Dublin, but I don't think it'll bother them too much. It's the 5 they're after. Guys like yourself and your friends coming down here this weekend, you'll keep the whole spirit of the GA alive. Of course you will, yeah. And please God, we'll come down again in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. And I want to say hello to Gerard Richardson and all his friends I met over the weekend, and genuine Dublin supporters. And isn't it brilliant? He listens to Terrace Talk. He's mad about Liam, Denny and John. He said, "You're honest guys, lads. I love it." Before we take a break, I just want to say that after the break we will have guys that have made the 100 appearances clubs, playing with their county, and that's to come after this break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry, brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie, leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk, and those comments still coming through to us. Hi Tim, well done to Kilcummin on Saturday. It was a great game. I would love to see Kevin McCarthy. Then we got that one earlier as well. Hi Tim, great weekend in Tralee for Kerry football, and congratulations to all. And that comes from Kevin Finn. Now, 2 inter-county footballers made their 100th appearance for their counties over the weekend, and while they're not Kerry players, we decided to catch up with them. And I'm delighted now to welcome to the show Fermanagh's Ryan Jones and Carlow's Benny Kavanagh. You're very welcome to Terrace Talk, lads.
Well, how are you doing, Tim?
First of all, I'd speak to you, Ryan, a member of the 100 Club. It's a huge achievement, to be fair, and to have that Fermanagh's jersey during that time.
Oh, look, it definitely is. I suppose it's a young lad's dream growing up, is to put on the county jersey, and then I suppose I'm privileged, to be honest, to be given the opportunity to play on Saturday night there and make my 100th appearance for Fermanagh. And look, it's definitely a proud moment for myself and I suppose my family and 2 other brothers on the team as well. So it was a nice night, and I suppose getting the result was the icing on the cake, to be honest.
When did it all start for you, Ryan, getting involved with Fermanagh? I take it was underage.
Malachy O'Rourke would have brought me in 2010. That was my first year. I was 19, so fled under, I think that's Rory Gallagher's my 5th manager in that period of time, but Malachy was the first man to bring me into the county scene at senior level.
And Benny, of course, you playing with Carlow. It's been a brilliant year last year, but Carlow, I suppose, and both of you lads would be considered the so-called weaker counties, if you don't mind, because you find it's very hard with the competition both in Leinster and Ulster to get to Ulster finals at times, and likewise to get, I suppose, the business end of Leinster. For you, Benny, it's been a great journey as well, I take it.
Yeah, of course, it's been a long road too, but over the last 2 or 3 years we're after having some good success, getting promoted out of Division 4 and into Division 3, obviously, but it was a proud day for me yesterday, representing the county for the 100th time. The result didn't go our way, but there's always the next day. We're in the running still, and it was a huge moment, and I was proud to make the appearance yesterday,
Ryan, what motivates you? At times you keep going, and maybe you mightn't have the success at times, even though Fermanagh has done it, I suppose, taken its few scalps over recent years. What motivates you to keep it alive for yourself and both for your club and county?
Oh, well, look, there's a lot of maybe negativity around Gaelic football at the moment, but I'm sure if you went through a lot of the county players, they would say that they wouldn't be at it unless they enjoyed it. And I suppose I've always been passionate about Gaelic football, and I've played underage football the whole way up, at Fermanagh development squads and that. And look, any day I go out and wear the Fermanagh jersey, it's a proud day for me. And I suppose it definitely helps that my club, we've won the senior championship in this last 4 years in Fermanagh, and the fact that 2 brothers playing as well. So it's all football talk, to be honest, in our house. And look, I suppose the dream would be to win an Ulster title with Fermanagh, and I suppose any lad that puts on the Fermanagh jersey, I suppose they want to be the first person to try and do that. And it's definitely, I wouldn't be at it if I didn't enjoy it, to be honest.
And of course, when they see somebody that's reached the 100 club, I take it the younger players will be looking up to the likes of yourself.
Well, I'm sure they will. To be honest, like this last couple of years, I think we've been on an upward curve, and obviously last year getting to the Ulster final was disappointing, but also getting promoted to Division 2 and playing at a higher level. And I think at the moment there's good vibe around the county. Obviously we'd have a small enough pick, and a lot of the clubs, a lot of the players within each of the clubs, everyone would know the county players and that, and they'd be coming along to the game. So I suppose we just want to try and push on, every game, every year, and I suppose getting the result on Saturday night was a big part of that.
Yeah, it's nice to get the results. And Benny, I take it you've the same motivations as Ryan, trying to do well with your county, get that extra step and maybe a bit of silverware.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're always trying to improve, and you want to play against the top team. So the big thing for us is the league, the national league, and that's what kind of the motivation there is, to play against the top teams, and I think with the GA, there is, as Ryan said, there's a lot of negativity around it, but for me it brings structure to your life and balance to, what I mean. It's a great way of getting out there and clearing the mind, you know what I mean. But yeah, with the club there, we've won back-to-back championships, so we're going for 3 in a row now. So it's kind of what we'd be looking to do. We'd always be on the business end of the championship, so and with the county, we didn't have a good result, obviously yesterday, but we'll be pushing there again, get back on track now the next day against Offaly, and hopefully we'll push the first up to the first or second spot, hopefully, because there's nothing between all the teams there. A win could take you up, and obviously a loss could take you down. So yeah,
Benny, chances of winning a Leinster title in the county level maybe out of reach. Do you reckon there should be a two-tier system?
Look, no, there is a lot of talk about it, and in my personal opinion, I wouldn't like a two-tier championship, and a lot of people in our county are in this. I know we're a smaller county, a weak county, but you always want to play against the bigger teams. I know we're in Leinster, and you have Dublin there, so last year we were in a Leinster semi-final, very close to a Leinster final, so there's always that motivation there to get into a Leinster final, you know what I mean? There's not between all the teams in Leinster apart from Dublin, we had a great win against Kildare last year in the championship. So
that's correct.
Our learned glory is even getting into the top 16 teams in Ireland. It'd be success for us, really, and to be honest with you, there's not too many teams far off it, and we'd always be pushing, for a Leinster final maybe, and sure, on the day you never know what could happen,
Benny, Ryan, would you be of the same thought that you'd prefer to be playing the bigger teams for that chance rather than coming through a system where you'd win a second-tier system and put you in a position to compete with the big boys?
Well, look, I can see what people, their point, and that they're saying, push for a two-tier system. You look at the league structure at the moment. I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 teams throughout the whole 4 divisions that have won their opening 3 games. So it's very competitive. And I suppose that's what makes it entertaining for the supporters, and compared to maybe a championship match, one of the big guns are playing a so-called weaker team, and there's maybe a 15-16 point defeat for that so-called weaker team. But at the same time, you want to test yourselves against the better teams, and a two-tier championship would mean that the lesser teams aren't going to get that opportunity. And I suppose it'll be any player's dream to go and play against Dublin in Croke Park, and I still think it's important that players have the opportunity. They still have the dream of getting that opportunity that I talked about.
Lads, great stuff. We're delighted. Of course, we've seen it on Twitter, and delighted, and a coincidence, I suppose, the two of you on the same day achieved that mark. And, we'd see many great days for you again. Thanks a million to both Ryan Jones, of course, of Fermanagh, and Benny Kavanagh of Carlow, coming on tonight on Terrace Talk.
No worries, thanks a million for having us.
Thanks a million, lads. Thanks a million.
Bye now.
And that's absolutely great stuff when we see. We're very proud to be here in the Kingdom, and what we can achieve and get a Tall Ireland final day. But these guys soldier away and try keep the game alive, and great individual achievements by those two men. Now we change code. We talk about the small ball. I'm delighted to have in studio, of course, PRO of Kerry Ladies Camogie, of course, the Risteard O'Fuarain. Risteard, you're very welcome to Terrace Talk.
Good morning, Tim. It's great to be here.
Risteard, I suppose I took notice that I suppose out there's a lot of chat at the moment that maybe it could be Terrace Talk, it could be any programme, it could be written media, that maybe hurling doesn't have the profile or doesn't have the attention that the big ball game tonight is. I suppose we're coming off a Kerry win, 2 clubs winning in All-Ireland, and that hurlers at times, or the hurling fraternity, feels that they're left out in the cold.
Well, I don't think it's sort of them versus us thing. I think that this weekend we saw Kerry defeating Dublin. It was an outstanding performance, and you have to recognise that. And I think anybody would be very small-minded if they wouldn't recognise that. Obviously, the performance also of Kilcummin and Beaufort was absolutely outstanding. So, we're not saying that, you should not praise the great success that we've had with the big ball down through the years. You have to recognise that, and rightly so. And as Kerry people, we are very proud of the success of our footballers. But I suppose with regard to our hurlers, I suppose over the last couple of years, Kerry have been in there with Carlow and Westmeath and Laois. And we saw where Carlow are now, I mean, they were very unlucky against Dublin. Obviously, they won 2-A last year. They won the Joe McDonagh. And very unlucky, as I say, to be defeated by Dublin and drew with Galway. So Kerry hurling at the moment is in a very, very good place. And we have hurlers like Shane Conway and Jordan Conway and others who, if you go outside the county, people know about them and they say, jeepers, they're great hurlers and they probably get their places on any other team. So I suppose, well, first of all, the people who would be coming from hurling areas, we need to support our teams. And I suppose it's very easy, and we see it here in Kerry now and again, that when the footballers are not doing too well, there are many people who like to send comments into Terrace Talk and into other programmes giving out. And now Kerry are on the crest of a wave, and of course, everybody is saying they're brilliant and they're fantastic, and the Austin Stack Park was full the last night. But I suppose if the Kerry footballers were not doing too well, there are plenty of lads who will turn on them, and disgraceful so, I think, because these are amateur players, whether it's football or hurling. They're amateur players. They put a lot of work in, and I think we should recognise that and applaud them for what they have done. But I suppose, going back to the hurling, I think that, all we want, I suppose, really, is for the hurlers to be recognised for the fantastic work they have done.
But I can only talk about what happens at Radio Kerry. We carry a lot of live games that, Mike O'Halloran and sometimes Timmy Sheehan is his co-commentator. Sometimes that Radio Kerry, cover those games, no different to what they do in live sport on a Saturday and Sunday. But there's a thing then that's perception out there that the likes of ourselves may not cover hurling like we do. In recent years, we'd have the likes of John Egan inside here, likewise James Mack, the Kilmiley man, James McCarthy, contribute hurling. And I see for myself personally, I travelled all the way to Kilkenny to get an interview with Brian Cody. Likewise, I took up TJ Reid, I had Kieran Carey on the corner. But do you feel in general that Kerry is not, you'll probably never be at the level of the football because it's a pocket in Kerry, but obviously they need recognition, but crowds are down as well at hurling. The recent league game here in Tralee, was it 300?
That's right. It was just
and we think about all the clubs. So if you have a county final above in Tralee that you can put 9,000-10,000 into Austin Stack Park, where are those supporters then when the hurlers are out?
Well, I think that's a very, very good point, and I think that I suppose it was very easy to fill Austin Stack Park last night because, as I said, the Kerry football is on the crest of a wave and there's nothing like success. But I suppose there is an onus on the hurling supporters from the clubs to come in. I mean, I don't know why they don't come in. Is it that it's, that the weather is not good? But we're not asking them to play. It's the hurlers out there who are putting in the hard work. And many of these hurlers, and obviously footballers as well, they're self-employed and they put a massive amount of work into training and minding themselves. And yes, you're totally right. The least we can do is get off our backsides and get in and support them. And support all our inter-county teams, because I was watching the development squads now yesterday morning outside in Mitchell's, and both football and hurling out there. And the hailstones coming down top of them, you know what I mean? And they will go on and they will play for Kerry in both codes, and there were both genders there as well. And the least we can do is come in and support them. But we only tend to support our teams when they're going well, and not when maybe they're just on the way up, or maybe they're losing, And I think that the true measure of supporters is that you back your team, irrespective of how they're doing. But yes,
supporters must probably show no different. All our comments tonight obviously came in relation to those people in Austin Stack Park that experienced that. So you'd say if there was a big crowd for a league game in Austin Stack Park, that they'd send those comments through to us to generate comment.
Oh, absolutely, and I think that is an obligation on hurling supporters to ensure that they do engage, to ensure that they do come and support the team and what have you. But at the end of the day as well, I think that across the media, and I think it's other counties as well, they may say that the likes of the Carlows and the Westmeaths probably don't get enough credit on the national stage. I mean, as I say, Carlow now drew with Galway, but Carlow wouldn't be getting the profile that I feel they deserve, in all fairness. Now, TG Cahara are very good, but I think the Joe McDonough and the likes of the Risteard should get a higher profile, because you have teams playing in the Joe McDonough and in the Risteard competition that are on the way up and they're knocking on the door. And as I say, what we saw recently was a traveller of ourselves, Carlow, coming along and putting it up to Galway. So I think that we have to encourage the teams like Kerry, the Carlow, Westmeath and Laois.
You'll stay with us, and actually the lads are still in studio, of course, as well. Denny Long, John Kennedy and Liam Brosnan. Just to get a couple of comments before we take our break. Hi Tim, what a weekend of sports. Well done to Kerry seniors, Beaufort and Kilcummin. Great victories. I was watching the match on TV. There was not a lot of space behind the goal at the horn end of the ground. Great show always. Keep up the good work. And David, Tom, Marie and Marshall in Currow. Hi Tim, the Kerry defence was terrific Saturday night, and turning over the ball, something which has been lacking for the last couple of years, and that comes from James in Kilcummin. We now take a break.
Terrace Talk on Radio Kerry, brought to you in association with BrianJames.ie, leading the way for stylish menswear in Kerry.
You're very welcome back here to Terrace Talk, and I still have in studio Liam Brosnan, John Kennedy, Denny Long and I've Risteard O'Fuarain. We're speaking about hurling. Is it the poor relation? And one man that may answer for it, he's on the line now. He's former Kerry player, a great servant to Kerry hurling. That's James McCarthy of Kilmiley. Good evening, James.
Good evening, Tim. How are you doing?
Well, James, our topical, of course, like we said, the predominantly tonight was all Gaelic football. When you were a player, did you feel that the likes of, we look at John Kennedy across the table, Liam Brosnan when he was involved with Kerry, and Denny Long with Cork, that you'd look at players like that and you'd say, look, we're the poor relation, we're playing the minority supported sport in the county? And did that ever come into the equation for you?
I suppose, looking at him, that was always, just love of hurling was always the first thing, not who you actually, we never really looked out into the crowd, because at Kerry hurling matches when we were playing, you always had a very small crowd. But I suppose you could look at it another way. You kind of, you got to build yourself up. There's no, like, you look at the football as well. Division 3 and Division 4 of football, they're not getting huge crowds. You've got to actually build yourself up. We were in Division 1B there a few years ago. Then you get the crowds, you get Galway, you get Wexford, you get the bigger teams come to Tralee, playing them week in, week out. It's when you get accustomed to playing those teams every year in a league, then people say, it will come. Crowds will come. Crowds say, oh yeah, I'd like to go see Galway play there. They were in the final last year. Or Waterford might be there next year. Limerick were in 1B a couple of years ago. Limerick are All-Ireland champions. So like you're not, you have to build yourself up there. You can't expect crowds in Division 2A and 2B. Yes, you get the hurling fraternity. Yes, you will, of course. But you won't get the crowds and you need something to draw the crowds in, really, tell the truth.
And the topic, I suppose, of our discussion as well is media coverage. No different to ourselves here on Terrace Talk. It could be anybody, it could be the written media. That are they getting enough support from the likes of ourselves?
Do you know, in fairness, I always thought we would. I always thought we did, really, in fairness, in all the papers who cover it, like, and even yourselves now. Like, it goes back to it again, like what you say, like, do you really spend much time? You were talking about Kerry in Dublin last night, or Saturday night, All-Ireland champions versus hopefully champions the next couple of years, maybe this year, next year, whenever Kerry, like, you talk about a big draw. That's going to be on tip of everyone's tongue for a couple of days. And then you're talking like Kerry welcome Mayo to Tralee next week. Like, is that, like, it's not going to be the same kind of mouth-watering attraction as Kerry Dublin last weekend. Like, so, I mean, they're going to spend 2 or 3 pages on Kerry and Mayo? I don't think so. Or like you could spend 15 minutes, half an hour talking about it, but really, until you get up to a level where you're Division 1B, or hopefully 1A is a long time off, but 1B, then you're not going to get the coverage. And I don't blame anybody. I wouldn't either. Like, that's just the way it is, I'm afraid.
James, how did it sit with you being like you say, you never thought about what's the crowd, but you go out there and you train like a Kerry senior footballer, and the next thing you open the page of the Kerryman, and there you can see, or any paper, or be it radio, and you'll say I suppose the highlights and the profile is given to the players. Did that hurt?
I suppose if you're in Kerry hurling looking for popularity stakes, you're in the wrong line of business, I'm afraid. You always got to. We never. Hurlers don't think that way. But we're a different breed, I think. In Kerry, especially in Kerry, the lads in Kerry, they're playing hurling for themselves, for their families, for the parishes. They're not looking for the headlines every week or looking for the radio every now and then. When you get it, it's great. But I think we're realistic as well too, Tim. The hurling fellas, they're level-headed guys that look, hang on.
Yeah,
like when we get up to that level and we're competing there week in, week out, back in Munster Championship, maybe playing along Joe McDonagh Cup, winning Joe McDonagh Cups and playing there, that's when you get your coverage.
Risteard, could you concur there with what James is saying, that maybe you have to push yourself from the inside in order for, I suppose if there was a Joe McDonagh or whatever final tomorrow that we go racing off, we need this, that's going to be a high profile thing. Do you feel that it comes from the hurling and the supporters? More so than the media?
Yes, but I think that in the past, probably we've had success. And I concur with James there with regard to, let's say, playing Mayo next Sunday is not going to be a massive draw, and that's fair enough. But I think in the past, we have had our days in the sun. For example, beating Antrim, I thought was a great achievement.
Did it get profile that time, when you did?
No, I thought that we could have gotten more profile when Kerry beat Antrim at the start of the league campaign. I'll be very honest with you. I thought it was a massive achievement to go up there and beat Antrim. Obviously playing Westmeath, then Kerry were actually better than Westmeath and probably let them back into it. But I think that there have been times in the past when Kerry hurling have achieved great results and probably didn't get the credit that they deserved for great performances.
Is there an onus on whoever's involved, beating the hurling side in, to push, beat information our way so as we can grasp it, this is something unique, or is the onus on us to go chasing it?
Both, I think. Well, first of all, yes, this the appeal is. And as a PRO, you have to put the information out there. And at the end of the day, you have to inform the media of what's going on, because they can't run with something if they don't hear about it. So, first of all, I think, yes, the PRO has to do his or her job. Make sure that the radio or newspaper or whatever get the information, because they can't do anything if they don't get the information.
John Kennedy, you were a Kerry senior footballer. I'm sure you came across football or hurlers at the time, and you were at the top winning All Irelands, of course, 84, 85, 86, and then you have the hurlers in Kerry. Did you find that if you came across a hurler that they felt maybe, look, we're not getting the profile and we're probably putting in the same effort?
I didn't, Tim, but there was a tremendous respect always as footballers for the hurlers, because there's massive commitment at inter-county level. Whether you're successful or not, the same work goes in, and the Kerry hurlers they've made great strides, Tim. You start to the club scene in Kerry, we're bordering Ballyduff and Lixna and Causeway there, and Crotta. They've brought in outside managers, the likes of Anthony Daly and Mark Foley and Kieran Kerry. That has brought up the level. It has brought up the supporters go to see the teams prepared by those. I think the standard of the county championship in Kerry has improved.
Correct.
We're going to games there, and it's not breaking timber anymore. In fairness, that was going back years ago. It was a tough. You have skillful players now, and like Risteard said there, the Conways, the Boyles. You won't get better than those around the place. In fairness, they'd hold their own in any county.
Yeah, definitely. So, Risteard, before we go, I want to congratulate you, of course, on your recently well-deserved win of the Camogie Association National PRO of the Year, and it's long-winded, but what an award to win. Well done.
Thank you very much. And I'd just like to mention as well that we have two new Camogie clubs. We have a new Camogie club in Castle Island, Slieve Luke Camogie Club, and Aberdorney, Kilflin and Lixna, Abbey Kilix as well. So keep an eye on the Facebook page.
And James Mack, I know you're still on the line. Thank you very much for coming on as usual. We'll have you in here other nights, and thanks a million as always for contributing and helping us here on Terrace Talk. Likewise, you, Risteard, keep up the good work with the Camogie. Denny Long, I didn't get a chance to ask you about what's happening down in Cork, but I'm going to have another day in the sun with that. John Kennedy, as always, thanks a million. Likewise, Liam Brosnan. Liam, you're big in Dublin. Long may that continue. Tonight I want to thank Matthew Green, who was on sound, Jill St. John Harrington, who helped us out as well, and the man that's back from a sunshine holiday even, Eamon Hickson. He's glowing tonight here, the producer of Terrace Talk. Until next time, this is Tim Moynihan saying goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this podcast from Radio Kerry. For more, go to radiokerry.ie/podcasts or search iTunes using the keyword Radio Kerry.